Hey guys, hope you're having a great day out here in Idaho. It's really beautiful today. I'm out here behind my house just sitting on the river, one of my favorite places. And I just want to have a heart-to-heart with you today. You know, I want to tell you one of the biggest lies Watchtower tried to get us to believe. And I also want to tell you one of the realizations that I got that changed everything in my life. It was pretty amazing. And one of the biggest lies that Watchtower, maybe even religion will tell you, is that you were junk, that you were trash, that you need to wait for a new world to come. You know, I waited 40 years. You guys probably waited a lot of years as well. And that was one of the biggest lies. Sit still, do what we tell you to do. And in another life, you know, the good life comes, the better life, the real life. So what that would mean is that God put me here for nothing and put you here for nothing. To join a church, sit and wait. Wait for somebody to come and do what? You know what I'm saying? And so that was one of the lies that I believed for a long time, that I just had to wait for the paradise, that I had to do this and do that. So I did. And, you know, as you guys know, at 40, my life had just begun. I thought it was over. You know, I went through my drama of, you know, I was 40 years in the Jehovah's Witnesses. I lost 40 years. I didn't go to college, and it was all true. I didn't go to college. I graduated with a D-. I did this, I did that, because I was waiting for the world to end. I thought the world was going to end in 75. I graduated in 77. And so it didn't, so life went on. So one of the greatest and biggest realizations that I had is that I am not junk, that God intended me here. God put me here. God knitted me together in the womb. God put me into that womb to live the life, to come through my mother, to live the Jehovah's Witness life for as long as I live. God placed me in that womb. God knitted me together in that womb. And here I came. So here I am in life, right? Living this Jehovah's Witness life. You know, you guys know, you know the routine. You know, I had a dysfunctional family, an angry dad. You know, my mother had some mental illness, and, you know, so we lived through it. And anyway, we got sideways with it, or a prophecy didn't happen, and we left. And so we were left with all of this programming, you know, that, you know, you're a dog returning to the mire, you know, you've left Jehovah, you've left Jehovah's organization, you went back. So we've had this mind full of stuff, and we've had to unload it. But one day I got this understanding through, you know, prayer. You know, I've prayed to God. One of the questions I asked myself was, who am I? Now that I'm not a Watchtower bot, now I'm not the 8 million people walking around saying the same thing, reading the same literature, program after program after program. Now who am I? And that is the greatest discovery I've ever had. And when I realized that God doesn't create junk, God created me, not Watchtower, not religion, not all these churches. They didn't create me. They're not my authority. God is my authority, and God had a plan. I'm not doing a preaching sermon here. I'm just saying an intelligence had a plan when I came here to transcend certain things, move through them, and then come back up, not stay down. So one of the things me and Angela did when we met, and by the way, she was one of the greatest gifts God ever gave me, was my wife, Angela. I just love her, and she loves me, and we've created something wonderful together. But one of the things we had to both do was figure out, who are we? What do we do? You know, Angela had musical skills. You know, she played the guitar. She sings beautiful. Man, you guys, man, she sings beautiful, like an angel. And so I said, well, we'll work on that. Do your singing. So, you know, she did an album, and then she wrote a book. And so I'm like, well, you know, so the point I'm making is, you have to kind of unravel you, right? The real you has really not showed up yet. I mean, yeah, the you that came into the witnesses, you know, God intended here, we came to this. But the real you, and I would even dare to say this, though you that the world is waiting to see, I believe that we are a aspect or a reflection of divinity. I really believe that, and that changed my world too. We are a reflection of divinity. It's something that God's Spirit can shine through each and every one of us, not just me, every one of us. And when me and Angela were doing our healing, part of us were talking late into the night, crying, holding each other, being mad, feeling like we've been screwed. But there was another part of us that said we weren't going to stay here. We weren't going to stay. This wasn't going to be the last chapter in our book. Watchtower was not going to be the last chapter in our book. The governing body was not going to win. And they didn't win. They didn't win. We were not junk, and you're not junk. And everything changed with that realization. When I tell you things that me and Angela's done, there was a point in Angela's life where she looked at me in the eye and said, Dan, I'm not going to be able to have another cup of Starbucks coffee because I'm that broke. I thought I was going to be on the street, when she left. She went back to her mom's and, I crashed and burned out through alcohol. And, there was a time for that, right? Where you're coming out, you just don't know anything. You're all combobulated, you're trying to land on the ground, And so anyway, but both of us said we're going to figure out who we were. So, I like held up a mirror for Angela and said, well, I see this in you. I see you could do this and you could do that. And, so we started working at the rescue mission. Angela loved doing that. She loved singing. She loved making cookies. She'd make these big things of cookies for the rescue mission. And there was all this love interchange. Now, it wasn't my thing. I went along with her, but it really wasn't my thing. My thing was other things, I wanted to maybe start a business one day, and we did. Me and Angela both started a little kitchen refinishing business. And that afforded us the opportunity to do some traveling, go to some nice places around the world, and just have a nice time and recover. And all that was part of the person that I never knew who I was. I had a friend of mine one time. He said, Dan? I said, yeah, Leland. He said, most of you is it still up on the shelf. I said, what do you mean by that? He says, you don't even know who you are yet. There's so much to you that's up here that you haven't pulled down here into your reality. And so I said, thank you, Leland. He said, so you can pray about it. You can ask about it. You can take Myers-Briggs tests, you can take Enneagram, these are all little online tests you can take, that kind of, you type in your personality and they say, oh, you'd be good at this and you'd be good at that. It's just a mirror. It's just a mirror to reflect back. But we did that for a long time. My first mentor did a lot of that with me. The first lady I met, she goes, let's find out who you are. And I go, really? She goes, yeah, it's going to be exciting. Yeah, it's like a guy told me one time, a mentor of mine, he was a teacher in Boulder. He was a professor in Boulder. And he said, Dan, could you imagine if we had a school that was set up when a baby was born? And we said, oh my God, what's he going to be? And, they put a little, thing together where he would build something, right? They put this thing together, Tonka toys, where, he was going to build something. And they say, oh my God, he might be an architect. Or they set some paintbrushes in front of him. He starts painting, or whatever, he's musical inclined. And he said, wouldn't that be beautiful if we had a system of education that would try to figure out the gift we are to this life. Every one of us is a gift. And he said, wouldn't that be wonderful if we were like so excited and said, oh my God, what's he going to be? What's he going to do? Oh my God, what's he going to be? I can't wait. And we put all these things in front of him. And then we helped him along those lines become the person God intended him to be when he was here. So for us, for, whatever reasons, we were put into that womb. We were knitted together in that womb and we popped out here. So we have to deal with the recovery. We have to deal with the healing that, me and Angela are still healing. Believe it or not, after 20 some years, we're still healing. We all are. Just different levels of healing. Maybe we're not so mad anymore. Maybe we're not so sad or whatever. But one of the main things, and the reason I wanted to do this video today, guys, was I wanted to say that Watchtower is not the end. Watchtower was only the beginning. Everybody on earth has to go through some weird stuff. Imagine being in Ukraine, God knitting you together and putting you into that womb, or in this country or that country, or over in Africa, maybe you don't have enough food, wherever, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. But everybody has to start. Everybody was born into the circumstances they were put into. And then we've got to work from there. And I'm going to tell you something. At 40, when I was 40, that was the determining moment when I said, I am going to discover who I am. And that is what changed everything. It's not over when you leave Watchtower unless you say it's over. Unless you say it's over, it is over. And that's why I did a video one time about, heal, tell your story, but don't get lost in the story. Don't let the story be the end all. There's much more to you than the Watchtower story. There was much more to me than the Watchtower story. There was much more life that I had to live, much more that I had to do, much more that I wanted to see, much more that I wanted to accomplish. Like I said, God doesn't make junk. Don't ever let the church tell you that either. God does not make junk. God makes good. What God made was good and very good. Read it in Genesis. Forget the rest of it. What God made was good and very good, and remember that and live from that. And if you'll take the time, ask people, what do you think I am? What kind of person do you think I am? I'll tell you what happened to me. So for me, what happened was I had no idea who I was. I'm reading all these books, all these spiritual books, all these, it's all I wanted to do was read about this connectivity with God and divine union. That was my thing. It's not yours, but it was my thing. And I was reading and reading and reading all this stuff. Well, one day I looked and I had, 3,000, 5,000 books on the subject. So I told this friend of mine, I said, I'd really like to know. One day I'm going to figure out who I am. And he said, turn around. And he said, look at all those books. He said, you're a product of that. That's why your attention is there. That's why you've chosen that, because there's something in it you need to know that resonates with you, that actually is a part of you that you're going to share with the world. And I said, wow. See, I needed somebody else to tell me, what it was. Now, that's not all of who I am. That was just a part of who I am. We are inconceivable. If we're made in God's image and likeness, we are inconceivable. Isn't that wonderful? You are inconceivable. I'm inconceivable. Undefinable. It's amazing. So I just wanted to say that today, guys. That's really all I want to say. I'm just enjoying the day out here along the river, and I'm feeling really good. And I just wanted to share with that, guys. Don't let Watchtower did not create you. Watchtower cannot put any curses on you, no matter what they say when you left. Brainwashing has no hold on you. God is bigger than that brainwashing. Love is bigger than that brainwashing. Let love sweep you away. Follow love. Love is like a trail. If you follow the love when you get out of there, if you follow those who love you, if you follow where the love is, you'll be guided. You'll be guided. That's your inner GPS. But, ask those questions, guys. Go in tonight. Ask God, say a little prayer, say, God, okay, I'm out now. Could you tell me who I am, where I'm going, why I'm here? Seems like a pretty big waste of time. That's what I say to God. I said, God, that sure seemed like a waste of time. 40 years. Wow. Why on earth did I have to go through that? And I'm sure, think about this, everyone else on earth asked the same question. Everyone. It doesn't matter if you're in Jerusalem, Pakistan, Iran. I'm sure people go in their room at night and say, why am I here? Why was I born out in the middle of a desert? Why was I this? But guys, think about these things. Meditate on them. Get silent. The Bible says go in the closet, shut the door, sit with yourself, ask friends. The biggest thing you are going to discover is that you were intended here. And all of a sudden, what's going to happen is you're going to start unfolding. Okay, you've come out of the Watchtower where they've had you underground, right? Like a seed, right? You were underground. And all of a sudden, you're going to do this when you come out of Watchtower. You're going to sprout up, just like a beautiful flower. You're going to push through that dirt and soil and ants that's been trying to eat you and all the negativity of Watchtower and all the shame. And you are going to pop up through that soil, and then there's going to be a little bud on the end of you and another bud on the end of you and another bud on the end of you. And all of a sudden, it's going to start unfolding into a beautiful, magnificent, beautiful, just like the pearl that was formed in this. That's how a pearl's formed inside the oyster. Beautiful pearl. The lotus flower is in what? It's in mud. It can't see heavy, dark water. Then all of a sudden, it's underneath the water. It's underneath the water that this is happening, right? And then all of a sudden, this lotus flower pops up and your mouth falls open. You go, oh my God, how could that come out of that muddy water? Or you look at the butterfly in the cocoon and you think, how on earth? That butterfly in there, it looked horrible. He's in that metamorphosis. He's all shriveled up, and all shriveled. And all of a sudden this wing pops out and this beautiful thing pops out. Guys, that is the metaphor for our life. The butterfly, the water bug that comes up out of the water and he's flying and he's like, oh, life is good. Everything's good. As long as we don't let the programming, get the help you need. If you need help with programming, if you need to go talk to somebody, therapist, go get it. If you talk to a friend till the middle of the night, go do it. If you need to join a little community, go do it. Do what you got to do. But the main thing I want you to do, to think about, consider, is to ask the question, who am I? Who am I? And it will reveal itself. And I will tell you this, who you are is simply amazing and simply wonderful and absolutely needed here on earth right now. I can't wait to meet you. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Talk to you in the next video. Thanks for tuning in.